lay some groundwork for others later.
107 days was more than enough time. That's a stupid excuse in my view, that it wasn't enough time. If anything, our election should be like Britain and like other countries. They don't need 100 days. She was actually doing fine after the first few months.
Next time have an actual primary where a woman candidate can prove her worth and not just be stuck in and nominated at the very last minute because you had a dotard running that you wouldn't fess up to?
He called Trump a dictator, but what happened next left even Hollywood stunned. Robert De Niro didn't just criticize Donald Trump. He launched into a full-blown meltdown. In interview after interview, red carpets and award stages became his soapbox. Trump wasn't just unfit in De Niro's eyes. He was dangerous, a fascist, and a threat to democracy itself. But here's the twist. While Hollywood cheered him on, the rest of the country watched something entirely different unfold. Something De Niro and his circle never saw coming. By 2023, De Niro had become a caricature of elite outrage. His once legendary acting career took a back seat to political tirades. In nearly every appearance, he hurled the same words: monster, tyrant, dictator. The repetition was glaring. There was passion, sure, but no actual argument. No attempt to understand why Trump's base was growing, or why millions of Americans, including first-time voters, felt drawn back to him. De Niro wasn't alone. His views echoed through late-night monologues and activist award speeches, all saying the same thing, all just as tone-deaf. They weren't trying to understand voters. They were scolding them. But while De Niro was screaming on cable news, something quietly shifted in the background.
The guy is a total monster. And anybody, I don't understand it. I guess they get behind that kind of logic. They want to fuck with people, screw them, because they're unhappy about something. He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person. I never play him as an actor because I can't see any good in him. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing redeemable in him.
Behind the scenes, Democrats weren't preparing for victory. They were planning a switch. While De Niro ranted on TV, political operatives inside the Democratic Party were looking at polling numbers and panicking. Trump wasn't just gaining ground. He was flipping key demographics. Latino support surged. Independent voters swung. And perhaps most surprising of all, he was gaining among women.
So why is Trump winning? I mean, the New York Times poll this week came out, and maybe this will change it with the State of the Union address, but Trump was beating him rather soundly. It was quite a warning light, 48 to 43, also winning way more among women than he had before, winning outright Latinos. What do you attribute that to?
I don't know. I just don't want to feel the way I did, and many of us don't, after the election in 2016, where we couldn't believe that it happened.
The numbers didn't lie. By early 2024, internal memos revealed a growing consensus. Biden couldn't carry them over the finish line. That's when whispers of a backup plan started to circulate.
Now, Kamala Harris had to step up. Now, what other Democrat could have stepped up in that period of time?
We're not arguing about that.
All right.
We're arguing the campaign she ran. They asked her what she would do differently. She said, I can't think of anything. That's terrible.
How do we trust a party that was telling us with a straight face that Joe Biden could be president for 4 more years without any problem whatsoever? That's what the Democrats were telling us. It was a massive lie. We saw through it. Everyone saw through it.
Kamala Harris began appearing more often, taking more of the spotlight, while Biden's public schedule shrank. Party insiders insisted everything was normal, but according to leaked internal strategy documents, the DNC was quietly preparing for a potential handoff. And then, as the narrative slipped further out of control, De Niro made his wildest claim yet. He said Trump would come after him personally, like a Hollywood villain. In an especially bizarre interview, De Niro predicted that if Trump were re-elected, he himself would be hunted down, banned from appearing on TV, silenced, or worse. His words painted a dystopian future, like something ripped from a bad political thriller. It wasn't just paranoia, it was projection. And while he imagined being chased by secret police, Trump, in a move no one expected, invited Bill Maher, a lifelong liberal and Trump critic, to the White House. Not for a show, not for a roast, for a conversation.
After winning 81 million votes, Donald Trump never conceded the election.
Correct.
Okay, he continued to lie. He continued to
Yes.
fabricate. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden won the hearts and minds of the American people, as well as the Electoral College, yet they were never given a mandate to do anything.
That invitation said more than a dozen speeches. It proved something De Niro and many others refused to admit. Trump doesn't fear opposition. He welcomes it, but if De Niro was spiraling, the media was covering up something even bigger. They faked a town hall to hide the president's decline, and even that backfired. In a shocking expose, CNN anchor Jake Tapper revealed what many suspected. President Biden's campaign staged a fake town hall in Delaware, closed to the press, with pre-approved questions and hand-picked supporters. The goal? Create clean footage for campaign ads. But here's the kicker. They couldn't use it. Despite every advantage, script, lighting, coaching, the final footage was reportedly unusable. Biden struggled to stay on message, lost his train of thought, and stumbled through responses. For the Democratic Party, this was a full-blown crisis. Privately, staffers admitted the president's cognitive decline was becoming too difficult to hide. Tapper's book, which hit shelves shortly after, confirmed it. The campaign was in chaos, and what De Niro didn't know, or refused to see, was unraveling in real time. The same elites calling Americans stupid were the ones pushing a failing facade. Throughout all of this, De Niro didn't just go after Trump, he went after voters. Millions of Americans were dismissed as ignorant, brainwashed, or easily manipulated. But the irony?
The guy is a total monster. And anybody, I don't understand it. I guess they get behind that kind of logic. They want to fuck with people, screw them, because they're unhappy about something. He's such a mean, nasty, hateful person. I never play him as an actor because I can't see any good in him. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing redeemable in him.
The same man hurling those insults was parroting late-night talking points, living in a bubble of Hollywood affirmation, and entirely detached from the lives of working people. While families were watching grocery bills double and gas prices spike, De Niro was delivering lectures from his multi-million-dollar mansion. And when people pushed back, Hollywood called them dangerous. But more and more Americans saw it for what it was: elitist condescension disguised as moral authority. And then came the moment that broke the internet. A Trump supporter confronted De Niro on the street, and it was pure chaos. It happened fast. A Trump supporter spotted De Niro walking in New York and let loose. "Bobby, it's your favorite president. I forgive you for being such a loser." The clip went viral in hours. De Niro stood stunned. For once, there was no script, no friendly host to cut to commercial, no applause to drown out dissent, just raw public sentiment delivered face to face. Social media exploded. Some cheered, others cringed, but most agreed. The moment marked a cultural turning point when everyday Americans stopped being silent and started talking back. But what really raised eyebrows wasn't that viral moment. It was what came right after, and who dropped the biggest bombshell of all. So why now? Why did CNN's Jake Tapper finally expose Biden's decline? Jake Tapper's expose shocked everyone. Not because it was new information, but because it came from him. For years, major media networks tiptoed around Biden's condition, downplaying his missteps, shielding him from scrutiny. So why speak out now? Critics believe the answer is simple: damage control. With poll numbers tanking, support slipping, and critics growing louder, Tapper's book wasn't a revelation. It was an escape hatch, a strategic retreat from a failing narrative. But it was too late. The trust was broken. The silence had lasted too long. Americans saw through it. And as for De Niro and his Hollywood peers, they thought no one noticed. But the country was wide awake. De Niro's rage didn't just expose Trump. It exposed how disconnected Hollywood really is. And as the media narrative collapses, one thing's clear: America's waking up. It's not about liking or disliking Trump. It's about being able to ask questions without being shut down. It's about seeing through carefully constructed illusions and recognizing that the people who claim to speak for you rarely listen. If you're tired of being lied to by elites and fed up with fake outrage, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and stick with us. because the curtain's been pulled back, and what's behind it will shock you.